"I'm streamlining this company," Brandon Walsh announced, standing on a cafeteria table like some kind of tech prophet about to deliver the gospel of disruption. Instead of revealing the next big innovation, he pointed straight at me and declared, "Charlie, you're out, effective immediately." The name's Charlie Reynolds, by the way. I'm 48, been working operations for 18 years, and I just got fired in front of half the company while eating my usual turkey sandwich. Coffee cups stopped mid-sip. Conversations died. The only sound was the hum of the vending machine and my own steady breathing. This 29-year-old kid had just terminated me in front of junior analysts, maintenance staff, and anyone else unlucky enough to be grabbing lunch at 12:30 on a Tuesday. "Dead weight," Brandon continued, unwrapping what looked like a $15 protein bar. "We're entering the digital age, folks. No room for dinosaurs who can't adapt." I didn't argue, didn't make a scene. I just reached into my jacket pocket, pulled out my badge and the master key ring I'd carried for nearly 2 decades, and placed them on the table in front of him. "Good luck," I said quietly, and walked out. Brandon smirked like he'd just conquered corporate America. What he didn't know was that those keys weren't just for doors. They represented 18 years of relationships, vendor connections, client trust, and institutional knowledge that kept Murphy Industries running when nobody was watching. See, Brandon wasn't born into this business. He was parachuted in. His uncle Ed Murphy founded the company back in 1987 when handshake deals meant something and your word was your bond. When Ed decided to step back for personal reflection, code for his messy second divorce, the board made Brandon interim CEO while they figured out their next move. Brandon had an MBA from Northwestern and 3 years at a tech startup that got bought out before it could implode. He spoke fluent buzzword and thought every problem could be solved with an app, a dashboard, or artificial intelligence. He walked into Murphy Industries like he was the second coming of Steve Jobs, ready to revolutionize a manufacturing operation that had been consistently profitable for 25 years. The purge started that very morning. First victim was Gary Wilson, our company historian, who'd been documenting processes and procedures since the Reagan administration. Poor guy had worked there longer than Brandon had been alive, and he cried quietly as security walked him to his car. Then Brandon slashed the employee wellness budget, canceled the annual company picnic, and fired 2 remote workers over Zoom, cutting their audio halfway through their goodbyes. "We're not running a charity here," Brandon announced to the remaining staff. "We're building a lean, mean, profit-generating machine, but I was the real prize, the power move." Brandon needed to prove the old guard was finished, and I had the highest profile among the senior operations staff. 20 years ago, I'd started as a floor supervisor, worked my way up through manufacturing, quality control, and eventually operations management. I knew every client, every vendor, every process that mattered. So he took me out loud and public, maximum spectacle, made sure everyone saw that experience meant nothing in his brave new world. I walked past the reception desk, past those motivational posters about teamwork and excellence that I'd always found a little corny, straight to my Ford F-150 in the parking garage. Sat there for a few minutes looking at those keys in my palm. They felt heavier than usual, not because of the metal, but because of everything they represented. Then I opened my glove compartment and pulled out my phone. Time to make some calls. First was Mark Thompson at Industrial Supply Corp. We'd worked together for 12 years, ever since his company started handling our specialty tooling orders. He picked up on the second ring. "Charlie, what's going on over there? We just got some kind of automated email saying your contact information is no longer valid. Our system's asking for a new authorization code." "Hey, Mark," I said, keeping my voice steady. "Just wanted you to know I'm no longer with Murphy Industries as of today. You'll need to work with someone else on the Henderson account and the upcoming Westfield contract." Long pause. I could practically hear his brain processing this information. "Jesus, Charlie. The Henderson Group account alone is worth $1.2 million annually to us. And that Westfield deal we've been working on for 6 months, that's potentially $35 million in equipment orders. Who the hell am I supposed to talk to now?" "Wish I could help you there, Mark, but I'm not authorized to make those decisions anymore. This is insane. You know these operations better than anyone. Henderson specifically asked for you to oversee their new production line setup. I understand the situation, but my hands are tied." Next call was Tony Rodriguez at Secure Systems Industrial. Tony's outfit handled all our safety equipment installations, monitoring systems, and quarterly compliance inspections. We'd built a solid working relationship over the past 8 years. Charlie, thank God you called. We've been getting error messages all morning trying to process the quarterly safety inspection reports. The new computer system kicked back our access codes and some kid named Steve Coleman called saying he's taking over IT operations. Guy doesn't know a safety protocol from a pizza order. Sorry, Tony, I can't help with that anymore. You'll have to work through their new procedures. Their new procedures? Charlie, we've got the Henderson Group safety inspection scheduled for next week. That's a $300,000 contract renewal riding on those compliance reports. Steve, whatever his name is, told me he could optimize our workflow with cloud-based solutions. I don't even know what that means. I hear you, but I'm no longer in a position to authorize anything. Each call was surgical. No anger, no sabotage, just the simple, professional absence of 18 years' worth of institutional knowledge walking out the door. Brandon thought he was firing an operations manager who pushed papers around and attended boring meetings. What he actually did was amputate the nervous system of Murphy Industries and hand the twitching patient to a 29-year-old with an MBA who thought manufacturing was just like running a software company. That evening, I sat on my back porch with a Budweiser, watching the sun set over the subdivision I'd called home for 15 years. My phone kept buzzing with messages from current Murphy Industries employees who still had my personal number. Charlie, the Henderson people called 3 times asking for you specifically. What do we tell them? The safety inspection is scheduled for Monday, and nobody can find the compliance documentation you filed last quarter. 5 different vendors called today asking for authorization codes that apparently only you knew. I didn't respond to any of it. For the first time in 18 years, Murphy Industries wasn't my circus, and those weren't my monkeys. The first real crack in Brandon's perfect world showed up Wednesday morning. He'd scheduled a meeting with the Henderson Group to personally handle their account, armed with a slick PowerPoint presentation about innovative manufacturing solutions and streamlined operational efficiency. I heard about it from my buddy Carl Jenkins in maintenance, who texted me the play-by-play from the parking lot. Charlie, you should see this. Brandon's in there with 3 Henderson executives and it's not going well. He's talking about blockchain integration for their assembly line. These guys manufacture industrial pumps, not cryptocurrency. The Henderson folks were polite but direct. They'd worked with Charlie Reynolds for 5 years, trusted his hands-on expertise, and weren't comfortable moving forward with their production line expansion without him overseeing the technical specifications. We can find someone equally qualified to handle your account, Brandon assured them, clicking through slides full of buzzwords and generic business graphics. With 18 years of manufacturing experience and Charlie's specific knowledge of our pump specifications, asked Jim Henderson, the company's operations director. We've invested considerable time working with Charlie to customize our production processes. He understands our tolerances, our quality requirements, our safety protocols. I understand your concerns, but we're moving toward a more systematic, data-driven approach to client relationships. Jim Henderson exchanged glances with his colleagues. We'll need to discuss this internally and get back to you. They never got back to him. By Thursday afternoon, the safety inspection crisis was in full swing. Tony Rodriguez from Secure Systems showed up for the quarterly compliance review only to discover that the access codes for the monitoring systems had been changed and nobody knew the new ones. Steve Coleman, Brandon's IT golden boy, had updated the security architecture without consulting anyone who actually understood the safety equipment. Look, Tony told Helen Carter in HR, I've got certification requirements from the State Industrial Safety Board. If I can't access the monitoring logs from the past 90 days, I have to file a non-compliance report. That puts Murphy Industries on the state watch list. Helen, who'd been with the company for 12 years and understood exactly how serious this was, tried calling me directly. Charlie, I know you're not with us anymore, but Tony Rodriguez is here and he says we're facing a potential safety violation. Can you help us just this once? Helen, I appreciate you reaching out, but I can't access those systems anymore. You'll need to work with Steve Coleman on this. Steve doesn't know anything about the safety monitoring equipment. He keeps talking about cloud migration and digital transformation. I understand the situation, but my hands are tied. That Friday, Tony Rodriguez filed his non-compliance report with the state. Murphy Industries received their first safety violation in 15 years. Meanwhile, the Westfield manufacturing deal was hitting turbulence. Their procurement director, Susan Miller, no relation to Brandon, called the main office requesting a technical consultation with their senior operations specialist about the specialized equipment order. I need to speak with Charlie Reynolds about the conveyor specifications for our new facility, she told the receptionist. Mr. Reynolds is no longer with the company. Can I transfer you to our interim CEO, Brandon Walsh? I don't need to talk to a CEO. I need someone who understands conveyor systems, load specifications, and safety requirements. Charlie and I spent 3 months working through these technical details. Brandon took the call anyway, confident he could handle any technical questions with the right combination of enthusiasm and business school vocabulary. Ms. Walsh, I'm excited to move forward with optimizing your operational infrastructure through innovative solutions. Mr. Walsh, I need to know if the Model X47 conveyor system can handle 15,000 pounds per hour at a 30-degree incline without compromising safety protocols. Charlie Reynolds was working with our engineers on the load distribution calculations. Long pause. I'll have my team run those numbers through our analytics platform and get back to you with data-driven insights. Your analytics platform? Mr. Walsh, this is basic mechanical engineering. Either your conveyor can handle the load or it can't. Charlie knew these specifications by heart. We're transitioning to more sophisticated assessment methodologies. Susan Miller hung up and immediately called her contact at Industrial Supply Corp, looking for Mark Thompson. Mark, what the hell is going on over at Murphy Industries? I just talked to some kid who thinks mechanical engineering is a software problem. Susan, Charlie Reynolds got fired Tuesday. The whole thing's falling apart over there. Charlie got fired? Are you kidding me? He was the only reason we were considering Murphy for this contract. Join the club. We're pulling the Henderson Group account and looking for alternative suppliers. By the following Monday, Brandon was dealing with his first real crisis. The Henderson Group had officially terminated their relationship with Murphy Industries, citing concerns about operational continuity and technical expertise. The Westfield deal was on indefinite hold, pending clarification of technical capabilities. Kevin Phillips, the general counsel, requested an emergency meeting with Brandon and delivered the news in his usual calm, professional tone. We've received formal notifications from 3 major clients expressing concerns about recent personnel changes. The Henderson canceled their $1.2 million annual contract. Westfield Manufacturing is suspending negotiations on the $35 million equipment order, and Industrial Dynamics is requesting verification of our technical capabilities before renewing their service agreement. Brandon's face went pale. This is temporary. Growing pains. We'll recover these relationships. Brandon, these clients specifically worked with Charlie Reynolds. They trusted his expertise. Without him, we're just another manufacturing company competing on price instead of relationships. So we'll build new relationships, better relationships, more efficient relationships. Kevin closed his folder and looked directly at Brandon. In 25 years of corporate law, I've learned that relationships aren't built on PowerPoint presentations and buzzwords. They're built on trust, expertise, and consistent performance. Charlie Reynolds represented all 3 of those things to our clients. Well, Charlie Reynolds is gone, so we need to adapt. Yes, he is. And so, apparently, are our clients. While Brandon was trying to put out fires with a garden hose, I was having coffee with Rachel Adams, COO of Archer North Industries. She'd reached out the day after word got around the industry about my sudden departure from Murphy Industries. Archer North had been Murphy's biggest competitor for the past decade, and Rachel knew exactly what I brought to the table. We met at a diner halfway between our offices, nothing fancy, just good coffee and straight talk. Murphy Industries lost a good man, she said, sliding a manila folder across the Formica table. We could use someone with your experience in client relationships. I opened the folder and scanned the offer. The salary was 20% higher than what I'd been making at Murphy. Full benefits, profit sharing, and most importantly, a title that actually reflected what I did, Senior Vice President of Client Operations. This is generous, Rachel. Charlie, I've been watching Murphy Industries for years, trying to figure out why they consistently landed contracts that should have gone to us. Now I know. It wasn't their equipment or their pricing. It was you. I thought about it for exactly 10 seconds. When do I start? How about Monday? Within a week, I had a corner office at Archer North with a view of Murphy Industries across the street. I could practically see the chaos unfolding from my window, and honestly, it was better than cable TV. My first day, Rachel introduced me to the operations team and made it clear I had full authority to reach out to my industry contacts. Charlie's got relationships we've been trying to build for years, she told the staff. Listen to him, learn from him, and let's see what we can accomplish together. The phone started ringing almost immediately. Mark Thompson from Industrial Supply Corp was my first call. Charlie, thank God. We've been trying to work with Murphy's new people and it's a nightmare. That Steve Coleman character keeps sending us forms to fill out instead of just talking through the technical requirements. And Brandon Walsh, don't get me started. What kind of forms? Digital optimization assessments and vendor efficiency matrices. It's like they're trying to turn manufacturing into a video game. Jim Henderson is ready to cancel his entire expansion project rather than deal with this nonsense. What if I told you Archer North could handle the Henderson Group's needs? Are you kidding? Jim would probably drive over there personally to sign the contract. By Thursday of my first week, I had meetings scheduled with 3 of Murphy Industries' former clients. The Henderson Group was first on the list, and Jim Henderson practically bear-hugged me when I walked into their conference room. Charlie! Rachel Adams called and said you'd joined Archer North. Best news I've heard all month. Good to see you too, Jim. I understand you've had some challenges with Murphy lately. Jim's expression darkened. Challenges? That's putting it diplomatically. That nephew of Ed Murphy's is either completely incompetent or actively trying to destroy the company. Maybe both. We spent 2 hours going through the Henderson Group's expansion plans. Same project, same specifications, same timeline. The only difference was that now Archer North would be handling the contract instead of Murphy Industries. This is exactly what we need, Charlie. Professional service from people who actually understand manufacturing. 3 days later, Jim Henderson signed a $1.8 million contract with Archer North for equipment and installation services. The same project that Murphy Industries had been working on for 6 months. Meanwhile, across the street, Brandon was discovering that running a manufacturing company was slightly more complicated than disrupting the taxi industry or optimizing food delivery apps. The state safety violation was just the beginning. Tony Rodriguez had filed his non-compliance report, which triggered an unscheduled inspection from the Occupational Safety and Health Administration. When OSHA showed up, they found that Steve Coleman's security upgrades had actually disabled several critical safety monitoring systems. The inspector, a no-nonsense woman named Patricia Moore, wasn't impressed by Brandon's explanations about transitioning to cloud-based safety solutions. Mr. Walsh, these monitoring systems are required by federal law. You can't just disconnect them because your IT person thinks they're obsolete. We're implementing more advanced monitoring through digital platforms. Sir, I don't care if you're implementing monitoring through telepathic communication with space aliens. Until you have functioning safety systems that comply with federal regulations, this facility is operating under provisional status. Provisional status meant Murphy Industries could continue production, but they were now subject to weekly inspections until the safety violations were corrected. Each inspection cost $2,500 in fees, plus the administrative overhead of having OSHA representatives on-site questioning every process and procedure. Brandon tried to fix the situation by hiring an outside safety consulting firm, but they quickly discovered that Murphy's safety documentation was incomplete. The detailed maintenance logs, inspection records, and compliance certificates that I'd meticulously maintained for 18 years were stored in a system that nobody else knew how to access. We need the historical safety data to establish compliance baselines, the consulting firm's lead inspector explained to Brandon. Without those records, we'll have to start from scratch with a complete facility audit. How long will that take? 6 to 8 months, assuming we don't find any major violations. 6 months? We can't afford to be under federal supervision for 6 months. Then you should have maintained proper documentation from the beginning. The financial impact was starting to show. Diana Foster, the CFO, requested a private meeting with Brandon to review the quarterly projections. We're looking at a 28% revenue decline for the quarter, she announced, spreading financial reports across the conference table. The Henderson Group cancellation cost us $1.2 million in annual recurring revenue. The Westfield deal was worth $35 million over 3 years, and now we're facing $10,000 per month in additional safety compliance costs. Brandon stared at the numbers like they were written in ancient hieroglyphics. This is temporary. Market adjustment will bounce back stronger. Brandon, these aren't market forces. These are direct consequences of operational decisions. We lost Henderson because they didn't trust our technical capabilities without Charlie. Westfield is stalling because they can't get straight answers about equipment specifications. And the safety violations happened because we disrupted systems that were working perfectly. So what do you suggest? Diana closed her folder and looked directly at Brandon. I suggest we admit we made a mistake and try to fix it before we lose any more clients. But Brandon wasn't ready to admit mistakes. He was ready to double down on innovation, optimization, and all the other buzzwords that sounded impressive in board meetings, but didn't mean much when actual customers needed actual solutions to actual problems. Across the street, I was settling into my new office, meeting with former Murphy Industries clients who were eager to work with someone who understood their businesses. The Henderson Group contract was just the beginning. Within 2 weeks, I had preliminary discussions scheduled with 4 more companies, including 2 that had never worked with Murphy Industries, but had heard about my reputation through industry contacts. Rachel Adams stopped by my office on Friday afternoon with a bottle of champagne and a big smile. "Charlie, I just wanted to thank you. In 2 weeks, you've brought in more qualified leads than our sales team generated in the past 6 months." "Just doing my job, Rachel." "No, you're doing something much more valuable. You're showing us what it means to build real relationships in this industry." The emergency board meeting wasn't on any official calendar. It happened on a rainy Tuesday morning in March, 6 weeks after my termination, when the quarterly numbers finally landed on Ed Murphy's desk in Arizona. I heard about it from Helen Carter, who'd kept in touch despite everything. She texted me from the parking lot. "Ed flew back from his retreat, emergency board meeting. Brandon's been in there for 2 hours and it's not going well. The numbers were brutal. Revenue down 35%, 3 major clients gone, $150,000 in additional compliance costs, and a reputation in the industry that was circling the drain faster than water in a broken sink." Ed Murphy hadn't built Murphy Industries over 25 years just to watch his nephew destroy it in 6 weeks. When he walked into that boardroom, he had printouts of every contract cancellation, every safety violation, every client complaint that had piled up since Brandon took over. "You want to explain to me how we went from profitable to provisional in a month and a half?" Ed asked, spreading the papers across the conference table like evidence in a murder trial. Brandon, to his credit, tried to maintain his confident demeanor. "Uncle Ed, these are just short-term adjustments as we transition to a more efficient operational model." "Short-term adjustments?" "Brandon, we lost the Henderson Group. That's $1.2 million annual revenue. Westfield Manufacturing walked away from a $35 million deal. And now I'm hearing they both signed contracts with Archer North. The market is volatile. These things happen." Ed leaned back in his chair and fixed Brandon with the kind of stare that had intimidated competitors for decades. "No, Brandon, these things don't just happen. You fired Charlie Reynolds without transition planning. You disrupted working relationships that took years to build. You treated manufacturing like it was some kind of tech startup." Kevin Phillips, the general counsel, opened his folder and began reading from his notes. The Henderson Group specifically cited loss of technical expertise and operational continuity as their reason for termination. Westfield Manufacturing stated they couldn't get competent technical consultation on their equipment specifications. Industrial Dynamics is reviewing their relationship with us pending verification of operational capabilities. Brandon shifted uncomfortably. "We can rebuild these relationships. Better relationships. More systematic relationships." "With what?" Diana Foster interjected, her patience finally exhausted. "Brandon, you fired the one person who understood these client relationships. Charlie Reynolds wasn't just an operations manager. He was the institutional memory of this company. He was resistant to change. He was competent," Ed replied sharply, "something that seems to be in short supply around here lately." The discussion continued for another hour, with Brandon trying to defend his modernization efforts while the board reviewed the mounting evidence of operational failure. Finally, Ed Murphy stood up and addressed the room. "I've heard enough. Brandon, you're relieved of CEO duties effective immediately. Kevin, draft a letter to Charlie Reynolds offering him the position of Senior Vice President of Operations, reporting directly to me." Brandon's face went red. "You can't be serious. You're going to crawl back to some old-school dinosaur who couldn't adapt to modern business practices?" "Brandon, that old-school dinosaur generated more revenue for this company than you've seen in your entire career. And right now, he's across the street at Archer North, taking our clients with him." I learned about the board's decision that afternoon when Kevin Phillips called my direct line at Archer North. "Charlie, Ed Murphy would like to speak with you about returning to Murphy Industries. We're prepared to offer you a significant promotion and salary increase." "Kevin, I appreciate Ed reaching out, but I'm happy where I am." "Charlie, I'm authorized to offer you Senior VP of Operations, $160,000 base salary plus profit sharing, plus a seat on the board of directors. I looked out my office window at the Murphy Industries building, where I could see employees standing around the parking lot, probably discussing the latest round of management changes. Kevin, that's a generous offer, but Archer North values what I bring to the table. I'm not interested in going backward. What would it take to get you back? I thought about it for a moment. Consulting contract, $250 per hour, 20-hour minimum weekly commitment, 6-month term. I'll help transition the client relationships and train someone to handle operations properly. I'll present that to Ed. He called back 2 hours later. Ed agrees to your terms. When can you start? I'll need to clear it with Rachel Adams first. If Archer North approves, I can start Monday. Rachel was surprisingly supportive when I explained the situation. Charlie, you've already brought us the Henderson Group and 3 other significant contracts. If you can help stabilize Murphy Industries, it actually benefits the entire industry. A healthy competitor is better for everyone than a failing company that drags down market confidence. So I found myself back in the Murphy Industries building the following Monday, not as an employee, but as an expensive consultant cleaning up the mess that Brandon had created. My first meeting was with Jim Henderson, who'd been fielding calls from Murphy's sales team trying to win back his business. Charlie, I'm glad you're involved again, but the Henderson Group is happy with our new arrangement with Archer North. You guys treated us right from day one. I understand completely, Jim. I'm not here to ask you to change vendors. I'm just trying to help Murphy get back on solid ground. I respect that. And for what it's worth, I hope they figure it out. Ed Murphy's a good man who built a solid company. Over the next 6 months, I worked with Kevin Phillips and Diana Foster to rebuild Murphy Industries' operational procedures, retrain their client service staff, and restore their relationships with key vendors like Mark Thompson and Tony Rodriguez. We recovered 2 of the lost clients and stabilized their vendor relationships, though the Henderson Group and Westfield Manufacturing stayed with Archer North. Brandon was quietly transferred to a strategic development role, which basically meant he got an office with no responsibilities and a salary until he found something else to do. The industry recognition came 9 months later. The Manufacturing Excellence Association invited me to receive their Lifetime Achievement Award for dedication to operational excellence and client service. Ed Murphy presented the award personally, making a point to mention how I'd helped save his company from a period of challenging leadership decisions. Brandon wasn't at the ceremony. Word was he'd moved to Austin to develop an app that used artificial intelligence to optimize manufacturing processes. I kept the award on my desk at Archer North, right where I could see it from my window overlooking Murphy Industries. Not out of spite, but as a reminder that experience matters, relationships matter, and sometimes the quiet guy with grease under his fingernails knows more than the loud kid with the MBA. They called me a dinosaur. Turned out this old dinosaur still had some bite left. The best part? I never had to sabotage anything or file a lawsuit or make angry phone calls. I just removed myself from the equation and let Brandon discover what happens when you fire the foundation and expect the building to stand. Some lessons can't be taught in business school. They can only be learned the hard way, usually at great expense, by people who thought they were too smart to need advice from anyone who'd been doing the job since before they were born. Experience isn't just about knowing how to do things. It's about understanding why they need to be done, and more importantly, understanding the people who depend on you to do them right. The real disruption isn't about replacing people with technology. It's about understanding that some knowledge can't be downloaded, only earned through years of showing up, solving problems, and keeping your word. In a world obsessed with the next big thing, sometimes the most revolutionary act is simply being the person others can count on when everything else falls apart.